I don't know why people refuse to take rape seriously. I really do not. You know, plagiarism is a huge deal. Why aren't we, so shocked? Why aren't we angry? Why aren't we fed up at rape as much as we get angered by plagiarism?
Statistics in this area are always quite difficult to look at because of concerns around reporting. So I think one of the more recent stats I saw from the South African Police Service themselves was that 1 in 27 cases are reported. When that is the case, it shouldn't be at all astounding that we've had 1 case reported out of an alleged 22 this year. That's perfectly consistent with the national statistics.
I hear stories constantly about people who have gone to report and they've been persuaded not to carry on with charges, which means that they're faced every day with their perpetrators on campus.
This is the great pity with our approach to survivors, is that the process through which you have to report your rape and go through whatever it is you go through, it's very dehumanizing. It's particularly dehumanizing for the survivor.
I have a lot of friends who open up to me, who have opened up to me about their rape. And in opening up to me, they've asked me to come with them to report it to their rape. And it's tiring. It's really tiring to a point that you just do not want to do it anymore. Like I'm telling you about my pain, but you keep asking me if I'm sure it's how I feel, or if you keep putting another person into it, you refuse to see my point of view.
There's this intent clause. So the definition of rape legally is the unlawful and intentional penetration, etc., right? And it's that intentional that I think is creating massive problems, because how do you prove that your rapist intended to rape you?
I don't believe there is such a thing as intentional rape. You don't ask a rapist if they were intending to rape you.
Yeah.
I was raped. I tell you I was raped. It diminishes my value as a human being. It belittles me if you have to ask my rapist if he intended to rape me. And I came to tell you I was raped, and you were like, so did you intend to do this, or did you just think you were having fun? To me, with rape, there is no question to it.
Blame lies with the victim, and within rape, the sound might sound too radical or whatever, but within rape it should be guilty until proven innocent.
Like in India.
Exactly.
In India it's guilty until proven innocent just with rape, because then it's on the rapist to prove themselves innocent and not on the victim to try to prove that the rapist wanted
it's up to us to say no, he did this, and that's just to stand up and say I was raped takes so much of a person.
Any institution is going to, in some ways, reflect the society in which it exists, right? So to speak of Rhodes as a microcosm of society is kind of just a truism, really. Yes, we are part of society. We are affected by rape culture in the same way that all heteropatriarchal societies are.
Every school I've ever gone to, within a year, the girls would probably get 2 to 3 people coming to visit, either from a rape crisis center or from a women's health clinic or an LO teacher, but we'd be constantly drilled with what to do to avoid being raped, what to do after being raped. And I asked my boyfriend, who is in our brother's school, but have you guys ever had a rape talk? Ever, since primary school and high school? Not once. Not once have they had a conversation or a discussion on rape culture, but we have to be constantly taught what to do to avoid getting raped and what to do after.
Yeah.
I used to think that catcalling was complimentary shit, right? And that's when I realized that it's because I think women constantly want to be sexually appraised like that. That's the value of women.
And then the way we approach women, actually, there's plenty of fish in the sea, And so we take them as options.
Oh, yeah.
Men at Rhodes, I think, to put it bluntly, they value women in their role of sex, literally sex objects. That's all they're valuable for.
From fucking 10 years old, 10, 9 years old, it's been sex. You gotta get it. You know what I mean? Even when you're with the girl. and you spend the night with her, hang out with her, and you don't hit it, your homies will ride you for that, man.
How boys are socialized to firstly not express emotions, and when you're taught, no, don't cry, be a big boy, then what that does is it instills in young men that emotion is irrelevant, and that has a dehumanizing effect. So then your intimacy relationships with a woman is with the object of the woman and not the human of the woman. So intimacy has been interrupted by this culture that says men are like this and women are like this.
If we're on a campus like this where it is, there's an advantage to say we're a small community, we can find a way together to get to propose solutions, change the law in this way so that it's not so difficult. But it's hard, but not impossible.
If we are not disrupting the status quo, we are not educating. So, I believe that this word disrupt has come into the conversation now, and I'm so glad, because it is something that we really have to disrupt. How we think, how we do things, how we have conversations about it. And in protests at this university, I thought we were different. I thought, in the fees must fall thing, we were the only ones who didn't get cops onto the campus. And I thought, yay, I'm so proud to be here because of that. And it just feels that now pressure has been put on this tiny university where we really could have made a difference.
Chapter 212 is a campaign that was initially started by I think stalemate, if I'm not mistaken, or UWC, one of these universities in the Western Cape province. But anyways, they approached the SRC transformation rape Naledi Mashishi, and then they told her about this campaign that's about, making awareness about rape culture, and obviously institutionalized rape culture in our varsities.
And to also raise awareness at how management is further endorsing that culture by giving us responses such as, what were you wearing? Are you sure you want to go through with this? He will ruin his reputation. So for being very insensitive towards victims.
And then they were taken down, and then Mother Zeta made arrangements for them to be put back up. But then, a day after that, they were taken down again with kind of no explanation. And I think right at that moment it could have been handled differently. Mother Zeta could have seen the photos, the posters, looked at the quotes, looked at the stats, all of that kind of stuff, and started a conversation already then. Even started this whole task team thing already then, just to show that they're taking this seriously, that this is an important thing, that they want to actually investigate, that they want to find ways of dealing with better, dealing with those who have been saying problematic things to survivors. Already there, it started kind of going downhill.
So on Sunday, a reference list was shared on the SRC page, and it did not say these are the name of the rapists or these are the people who raped. It just said RUReferenceList, the names of the people, et al.
People are like, what's going on? All these people have one thing in common, and it's rape or sexual assault.
It was an anonymous thing with names of people. And what those names did, I think, is kind of put a face to sexual violence. So, we often think that, we know people who are survivors of sexual violence, we hear their stories, we sort of know the people, but, seeing a whole list of possible perpetrators or alleged perpetrators is just, it was kind of in your face.
The justice system, unfortunately, one thing that is very difficult for us to understand as well, last week we had a murder case where the suspect was released on a very, very small amount of bail. Out of our hands, he was arrested, he was taken to court. Justice Department, they've got their set of rules. They must know about things like this.
But that's why we're here. That is what we're fighting.
Okay, but then do it on the right way.
They give us the mandate of the day, and I'm like, yes, I'm in support. Let's do this. The mandate is to disrupt classes.
Stand with us, and we need the management to take
understand that you need to carry on with your lecture, but this is far more important than anybody's lecture, anybody's touch, anybody's... Yes! 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 I would rather have people not rape than people be educated.
Okay.
This is
Don't we educate people to not rape?
No, I'm sorry. This is not a negotiation. This is time for negotiation. Guys, come here.
Rhodes University condemns sexual violence. Rhodes University condemns rape. We'll be setting up a task team that will look at our processes and procedures and make sure that we strengthen our response to issues of sexual assault and rape.
Because we are unsatisfied with the way management has responded. It has been suggested that we have a partial shutdown. No classes, no tutorials. Okay. We are not going to rest until there's justice for the survivors and victims that have been assaulted at Rhodes University and outside of it.
What happens?
Okay.
What happens if we do not remove them?
I think I've made myself clear. Please remove this barricade.
Why are you pushing?
I need to make a video of this also.
So, throughout the whole week, it was just events where we were protesting, just putting our bodies on the line with the naked protest also. I think it got to that point where we had to become naked so we can be listened to. Imagine what that does to us as individuals alone.
Has granted you a permission to disperse students for any means necessary.
Not Dr. Mabizela. The South African law allows me to. So the university has nothing to do with it? The university has got nothing to do with it. Anything, I'm saying there's two things that's wrong. You are blocking a public road, and the second one, the goals, it's public indecency standing without your top. That's it. Klar.
How can you call my natural body public indecency? How can you call this is my body, And I noticed that there was some men who were in the protest that were also taking their clothes off, their shirts off, and writing, is this public indecency? And they're like, no, you're fine. So now I'm criminalized because I have extra fat on my nipples. That's literally all that's it. Public indecency, that's a very strong word also. Indecent. Indecency. So
The police agreed to leave But what they are asking is only one, that we confine ourselves to Rhodes University. We agreed that there will be a tape or a barrier that will be constructed.
This morning came, we put barricades, he took them down. So now he wants to put his own barricade and say, we'll take it down. If he puts it up, we'll take it down.
I'm just incredibly in awe and so proud of our brothers and sisters and people who have come together to support this incredible cause. You know, in face of all the oppression that we've felt from the university management, from the government, from other students, from lecturers laughing in our face and telling us to move on, every single person still here is an incredible supporter of human rights, and just the feeling on the campus right now of empowerment, of pride, of love. I mean, it's an incredible feeling.
Apply for no one. We must apply for no one now.
One event out of this entire protest I won't obviously forget is the 20th of April.
Dr. Mabizela said yesterday that the police was not allowed on campus.
They're not allowed on campus.
They were just on campus.
They're just protecting, as I told you, the people who are taking the barricades away. They were simply standing there so there could be no confrontation between the students and the people taking the barricades away. They were here to keep the peace.
I'll take them. I don't know if it's going to come through here. No, it's not going to come through. Take the student card off and just give me your keys. Alright, she's not okay. Wait, sit up. We're not ready to come yet. I don't know what to do. You can just have a look here, please. Sweetheart, listen to me. You need to breathe. Listen to me. In and out. Sweetheart, listen to me. In and out. Sweetheart, hold her hand. In and out. That's it. In and out. In and out.
It's gonna cause problems. They are not going to.
That's on your hands. That is on your hands.
Release her. Please.
What is this? He's been trying for 4 days. He's been trying for 4 days. He's been. Guys.
One of them is having a panic attack. I beg them to release the students. There is no reason why they should take the students. This is completely unacceptable.
How dare you? How dare you? What if one of us was your daughter? Would you still do this? Are you happy? Are you happy with yourself right now?
In front of you. They are rape on campus. You will rape your fucking wife.
Dude, don't be shut up. You are sitting on our man, but you are calling police to kill us all. Where we pay?
These are customers.
We pay.
This university
as you say, business as usual. As if we are fucking entities. This business as usual must end. Food. Tell your friends, it must end.
When we got to the police station, actually, the one lady told us, she was laughing. The one guy asked her how the protest went, and she was like, yeah, we went to war. And we're like, war against who? War against who exactly? We weighed 52 kilograms and I'm unarmed. Exactly. we didn't want a threat.
We were being shot at while these rapists were being put in a safe house. We were being treated as the criminals in societies, we the protesters.
I think the moment you bring police in, it's yet another bureaucracy that dehumanizes. And we're just seeing it's harder and harder to come to resolutions. It's harder and harder for us to be fighting on the same side against rape culture. Instead, bureaucracy, the threats of police intervention is interrupting that very, very important conversation. So I am furious.
I cried out mama as I was running to one of the races close by. And it's, when I think about it, it's almost significant, but also kind of weird that, mama would be the first word I'd say probably as a baby, and the last I'd say quarter to dying, It was so scary, and nothing's been okay since then.
They came in and the show of force was completely unnecessary. The students were angry, but peaceful, right? Anger is a politically significant emotion that points to social injustice and shouldn't be dismissed, right? But the anger here was being interpreted by the police as violence, as public violence. That's one of the charges that's been laid against these 5 students.
Literally, I had bruises. I had to get medical attention because they really did hurt me.
Bruises.
And they took me to the van, and I refused because I had done nothing. So they were like, "You have the right to be silent." I was like, "I'm not going to be silent because I shouldn't even be arrested right now."
Yeah.
And then they were like, "You're gonna," and I told them I'm not going to be silent at all.
Mercy and I were arrested at the South Street barricade, and I was one of the front people in the barricade, and what they wanted, or what it seemed like they were trying to get across, is just for us to move the physical barricade. Not once were we told we were going to get arrested if we failed to move. And I was honestly really shocked when they pulled me off the first barricade. I thought it was just a way of getting me off the table so that they could move it. But I got arrested instead.
Get in now! No time for talk now! Welcome to the real world. There are workers here. What you are doing now? You cannot shoot their workers. What about our workers? Yeah? So, what do you think about our workers? Yeah? What do you think about our workers when we do here? Yeah? What are you doing here? What are you doing here? You
The interdict, it's ironic because it came after a very traumatizing day, when we were shot at, tear gassed, You know, we cried, it was very emotional. And then when we were settling down, like, okay, you know, things will be okay. When we're getting into that mindset, the interdict comes along.
The biggest thing I think for me was the serving of the interdict on the day that the police shot at and arrested students. That was just, you know, get your interdict if that's what you want, but on that same day when your own students were violated and had violence perpetrated against them was just, it just doesn't make sense to me.
And risking criminal liability.
We are just here again to say, should any one of you go to any event this evening, we will go in there.
Yeah.
This down.
Rhodes University condemns rape and sexual violence. One rape is one too many. The university agrees with students on all the issues that they have raised. The one area where we have not been able to find each other with the students is in respect of the action that has to be taken against individuals whose names appear on the hashtag RUReferenceList. So the disagreement here arises from the fact that there is a view that those students whose names are on the list should be summarily removed from the university. The university is of the view that we must accord all students the right to a fair trial in line with Section 35 of our Constitution.
So if you say the law, which is skewed badly against the survivor, looks after the rights of everybody, you know, including the perpetrator. And the kind of dramatic nature of that, saying, you know, we must protect even the bad person, is one thing. But there's no attempt to look at that, consider that, and say, well, surely there are ways inside the law to be able to, number one, remove those people from the environments of the survivors. That seems to me the most important thing. So you can protect their rights. They can still be taught. They can still be, you know, in a situation where they continue their learning, whatever it is. But they're not in situations where they are in the same physical context as the survivors, because that is a poisonous and re-traumatizing event. And that's not a complicated thing. You know, that's one idea. But surely there are, rather than just going, we can't do anything because the law says this, the legal team says this.
We cannot merely leave everything to the task team, because the thing is, there was a task team, but there was no visibility. And that's the problem, because we don't know if they're actually handling it. You cannot merely have a task team just to be there. They need to be doing something.
Nothing has been said about the insensitivity that is constantly displayed by this university's prosecutors. The insensitivity is clearly displayed on the projector behind me. This is an email between Sarah Driver, one of the prosecutors, and a student who has laid a charge of sexual assault. We need the university, specifically the law faculty located at Lincoln House, to account for this.
We are going to only move as a joint body.
I mean, I think the problem right now is this is perceived as a Mabizela solution to the problem. And I mean, the distrust that students have of management right now is completely unreal.
I think management needs to make a huge act of goodwill towards the students.
Right.
And that act of goodwill, in my view, is to remove the interdict.
Yes. So what we were hoping is that staff members in their different departments themselves need to commit themselves to not continuing with lectures until such a time that all of the demands have been met.
Rather than, go to the extreme of not having those spaces, well, we've got scheduled spaces of staff and students together. Why not try and use them more proactively, more constructively, to engage in conversations which almost sort of like saying that this is what's important now.
You know, our next meeting will be set up by the students. Please do come. It's open for staff and students. We want a space to talk.
And that is on Tuesday evening.
Evening.
At Pete Retief House. A warden was threatened with being doused in petrol.
The interdict was taken out because the university did not have the mechanisms internally to protect both protesters and those not protesting.
They are saying they are protecting protesters. From who? From what?
So I know people are feeling lost with the interdict kind of being quite loose, that what counts as disruption, anything could be counted as disruption, which we saw with Karen Knowles, who just used the word disrupt and a lawyer's letter was sent to her to cease and desist.
I was issued with a lawyer's letter telling me to cease and desist because of a tweet of something I had allegedly said in a meeting, and within 3 hours I received, it was dated the night before, so I only opened it later in the morning because I was rushing from things to things, and such a blunt instrument when it could have taken a phone call to say, Corinne, you've been reported as saying this tweet, can you give the context? And the context was, I was working with students at their request to try and find out how to keep this protest going within the confines of the interdict.
But when they serve a lawyer's letter to one of your colleagues based on this ridiculous, flimsy evidence, and then they will not answer who authorized this, and the letter says we have been instructed, and not one of them, nobody will say who gave the instruction. What is that? Why are you retreating into this? Have just the moral courage to say we made a mistake, that was wrong. Whoever is responsible, we take responsibility ourselves. We gave the instruction, that was a mistake. That's very angry making as well.
What absolutely astounded me is the immense weight of support I had. I really believe that the way we change the world is not through power but through vulnerability. And I believe that when we are vulnerable, if we can find solidarity with other people's vulnerability, that has immense power to shift the norms that prescribe how we live. And I felt, when I got back from several meetings that were exhausting and long, and then just saw, oh my goodness, my inbox, the Facebook likes, the messages, I couldn't believe, and I felt as light as a feather from that, and when I'd kind of trying to take it in and thinking, I'm even uncomfortable with so much love and attention. And what I realized is that, thank God it was me, because the irony and the difficulty of this is that there are 3 students named in that interdict. There are several young black female queer bodies that are survivors. Where is this groundswell of support for them? And I believe that exactly my privileged position as an older white person got me the support, and the experiences of black, young, female, queer, any combination of those, their experiences are erased by rape culture, by our policies, by even the way we support people, by the kinds of things that mobilize people. And I think that is really tragic. And I think, we have often spoken about the intersectionality of this issue, and that we cannot just look at rape being a thing between men and women, or men and men, or women and women. We need to notice and dismantle all those power relations that have to do with class, with race, with where you come from, with what your language is. Those are all of the things that feed into this culture that, in effect, effect, silences the experiences of certain bodies and protects the experiences of other bodies. And that is what rape culture is. And I will never stop fighting it. I will disrupt that with every ounce of my being.
It has been a long, difficult, and painful work. I want us to investigate ways in which the university does and may further engage locally and more broadly on issues of law and policy and research and activism regarding violence and rape.
There are those victims who have experienced severe trauma due to sexual assault, rape, harassment, but there are also many individuals who've been triggered by these events. And so I want to ask you as a student group to just be aware as well that it's important to also realize there are some students who the only way they manage to cope with their pain is to get up in the morning and go to class.
I have a fault, and my fault was that I wasn't brave enough to step into the pepper spray. That's my fault, and I apologize for it.
I was asked, why were you so comfortable with the police being there? Okay, the simple answer is I was not.
During the course of this protest, on a number of occasions, students engaged in behavior that is arguably constitutes criminal behavior.
The students against whom the interdict is made are the ones who will pay the cost of this application. We know that the students do not have money. How insensitive is it? And please, I beg of you, in the name of all of us, remove this interdict and let us then move forward with the setting up of the terms of reference for the task.
I was just asking that if she could just put forward a notion to the HODs to talk to the people that are working with them and underneath them to help us facilitate that academic shutdown.
I know off the top of my head at least 5 people in this space who have been raped. They need to understand that it's not because I don't want to go to class. It's because I can't watch another friend go through that.
But the project on the protest and the sort of conscientization of students is still happening, but we've moved the classroom to a more open space, the drama department, as opposed to saying all sort of academic projects are suspended. So that was a suggestion that was come up with yesterday.
The lecturers, yes. The lecturers are very ignorant. I'm beginning to feel uneasy seeing how they respond to what we're doing right now. I'm thinking the people who are teaching us can say such things, so they should also be urged to attend because they also need education.
Yes.
We're dressed in black because we are mourning. Every day, every second, a woman loses a part of her that she'll never get back.
Our society will never be the same. Each and every individual in this place and in countrywide will have to think twice after this moment to commit violence against women.
In trying to put something together to say, I don't really have the words. I am angry with how all of my students have been treated. And at this place and time, I'm not proud to be a staff member at Rhodes University.
Consider yourself as good as the rapist if you are indifferent to the kind of society that we live in. Consider yourself as good as a rapist if you still don't know why we are here today. Consider yourself as good as the rapist if you are still in your room
and you refuse to ask why have they gathered.
It's very clear that we cannot stop. But now the question is to the masses, Itini, what is your input? And then, the issue is that we still have to act within the interdict.
We need to look at what the options are in the best interest of this institution, otherwise it will close. And what we have is a very special space. You have raised issues of vital importance, and the only point I want to make is that it's not an either or.
Only a week of protesting has been not taken seriously even. And even if we continue, we won't heal immediately. But I'm asking, even if this interdict didn't exist, how are we supposed to be present? And how are we supposed to concentrate? And how are we supposed to look at other survivors and continue like nothing happened? And our lecturers who didn't even support us, who threatened us when we were fighting for our humanity. How is education more important than humanity? Yeah.
Our SRC, for me, at that time they've been silent. And isn't it students representative?
Yeah, exactly.
But for me, they're management representative council, because they say no. The right thing is, are you with us or are you not with us?
They were with us in the beginning.
So what happened was that Chapter 2 and 2 launched on the Monday. So it was my idea to get as many councillors as we could to go to the wall and take a picture in solidarity and post it up saying that the SRC was behind this campaign. So we had 7 councillors in the picture, 4 girls and 3 guys. We went up, took our picture, put it on Twitter. I think about an hour or 2 later, someone then commented saying that this was very ironic because one of her friend's rapists was in the picture. So we then went into our council meeting on Monday and we tried to find out basically who is this or is it true. And what was then done was our SRC advisor tore up sheets of paper and passed them around the room and gave them to us, saying that we should indicate Y for yes if you have committed sexual assault whilst during your stay at Rhodes, and N for no. The advisor came back and said to us that 2 people had in fact indicated yes, and we all just sat there in shock because we didn't expect that at all. And then the discussion going forward was, do we carry on recording the minutes of this meeting? Do we want people to know that this is happening? Myself and the media councillors said that this should continue to be minuted and it should be known. We came back the next morning at 10 with the lawyer because they were saying that we should get legal advice on this. The lawyer then said that the whole process was illegal. Because firstly, it was under duress because the president did object to taking the votes, and the fact that it was self-incriminating. So whoever had indicated yes would be basically saying yes to a crime. And more than anything else, it was anonymous. So even though people had said yes, we still didn't know who had said yes. I think an internal investigation needs to be held and had. And we need to find out who or how. HR needs to try and figure out how do we then go forward in dealing with this. But we can't sit, it makes me uncomfortable to sit around a table with 16 other people knowing that 2 people in this room have voluntarily indicated yes, because they could have said no, but they literally admitted and said yes that they have.
I have never tried to silence you.
You have! The interdict is!
It's okay.
The cops are silencing!
Can we please respect each other? Can we please respect each other?
I'm sorry, you can't. All we have is our bodies. All we have is our broken bodies. And you took that away. We don't have academic standing. We don't have money. We have nothing. All we had was our bodies and standing before barricades to make you listen.
Did you have anything left? Or should we? Bye-bye.
Personally, I don't even know what to do now except to make sure that we keep the conversation going.
We need to stop being seen as the born-free generation, because we're not. Yeah. We're not the born-free
technically born free, but politically, born into shackles of other types.
Exactly. So the thing is, like, our generation is standing up and saying,
No. Yeah, I was in the counseling center just yesterday. After 2 weeks of protests, a young woman came in and she was crying and she was trying to see a counselor. And they were saying that the lady who does at the harassment office is busy right now with the clients. And she was really like wailing and saying she needs to see someone. And they were saying why? She's like, I've been sexually assaulted and I need to see someone right now. And they told us to just go downstairs. She didn't know where the office is. No one accompanied her. It was not like a matter of urgency. She then had to leave and say she's gonna go to a tut and then come back. And that was devastating. Like even after all of this has happened, someone can still be treated like that. Like the world should stop.
Maybe we should see this list as a way of reporting to our peers, to the community itself, right? In a way that does feel safe and supported, as opposed to the kinds of spaces which seem to be protecting the reputations of perpetrators, the lives of perpetrators, the feelings of perpetrators.
But we're not stopping though. We're not going to stop until the interdict is off our heads, until, the one demand has been met, which is suspend the accused people upon pending, investigation. And that's literally all we want. We don't want them on campus at res. How does a person go to the mall, Pepper Grove, and you, like the one night we were last week Friday, we were trying to de-stress from everything, and then we bumped into the alleged rapist. And he was so arrogant that, the survivor was breaking down, ready to stab him actually. And he stood there with his phone and just, whatever. That was his attitude. And everyone at Pepper Grove was like, wow.
We're gonna fight this one to the end. Sadly, if the university has to, for me, they will have to take me out of this institution to shut me up.
Yeah.
That's what they'll have to do, and that's a whole battle they don't want to fight. Of having to take an international student out of school, that's a whole battle they don't want to fight.
And they don't realize that we're not standing alone. We're standing together.
Exactly. And
we're not.
That's a force they can't break.
Exactly.
Here was curriculum transformation absolutely in action and in the hands of teachers and students, of teachers and learners, on the floor, changing the curriculum and making it about things that are absolutely intimate with everyone's lives on campus. And we can't change the whole of the society and the world because it's a fucking global problem. But here's an opportunity where we can show how it is possible to deal with it in a way that maybe there's a model that can go.
Actually, I'd like to challenge people, because I think when we talk about sex, a lot of times, the assumption when we tell our friends about sex, like, hey, last night I just had sex with this guy or this girl. We don't even think if the other person consented to the sex. The assumption is, it was consensual, it was, you don't even begin to think if the other party was willing, if they were both, if the person who's telling you was willing to, so I just like to challenge people, the first question, instead of asking how was it, ask if it was consensual.
I also hope that students realize the amount of power that they do have. And we saw this with Fees Must Fall already, that students have power to challenge us lecturers as well when we say problematic things. And I hope that in lectures when someone does say something that perpetuates rape culture, at least someone from the students will challenge that as well.
I hope the conversation keeps on going. I hope lecturers can at least once a month conduct a lecture on rape culture about awareness. Because that's what happened this week. They're like, okay, we won't teach the normal curriculum. We'll have a lecture about consent or rape culture. And that's what some lectures did, not all of them. But I just hope the conversation keeps going.
I'm just so grateful for the academic staff members that have supported us, that have put their work on hold. This is hitting everyone at home, it's that intense. And I'm just so, when I think about it, I was just thinking now that it's so nice to know that at the drama department, which is one of our safe grounds when we want to gather and meet, that entire department has been so supportive. And when I think of my lecturer Alex and LG, I know that if I ever go through something, I can actually go to them. I haven't stopped, even with the interdict being there, I haven't stopped protesting. and I'm not going to stop because I have rights as well. I have rights, in so much as they think, this institution is so holier than thou, you can't do anything. I have rights as well, and I have a right to protest. I have a right to freedom of expression. It's my right. So until, if the cops do come and take me to jail, I'll still be protesting in jail. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but I was ready to be taken on that Wednesday, so I'm not stopping. I can't stop.
Remove the interdict. How are you gonna negotiate with people whose hands you've tied, you've got a grip on them already? You cannot call that a negotiation. That's remove the interdict. Listen to us. Listen to what we're saying.